Welcome, I'm Skylar. These are my views on things. This is my first video for the channel. It's not my first video for the channel, but it's my first transitional video because I have this backlog of video games and stuff you can go look at, and I'm not going to take it down. I'm just going to rebrand because I'm not going to be doing Twitch streaming and stuff anymore. I mean, that was like 5 years ago now. This channel is old. But instead of starting a whole new channel, I just thought, let's just rebrand this one and just keep moving forward. If at any point in the future that old material starts popping off, I'll start streaming again. Because technically, it's the view from my eyes. It's Sky's view, Skylar's views. And yes, that is not Sky. It's Schui, which could also be pronounced school. But that's how my name is spelled, and it's always been pronounced Skylar, so get over it. Today was basically, I was just going to sit down. I'm here. I'm going to talk about Supergirl. Me and my wonderful wife Ashley just went and saw Supergirl, and we had a great time. I'm a very big fan of James Gunn having taken over the DC movies. I used to enjoy Zack Snyder, but I kind of got over him way before he even started doing the Man of Steel and all that, his DC universe. I always thought his DC universe was a little bit too bleak and a little boring. And I find the first two movies and the TV shows that have happened within the DC continuity, like Peacemaker and is it the Monster Squad or whatever that is? I don't know. It's not the Suicide Squad. Yeah, it's like the Monster Squad. I could look it up. Give me a second here. I'll look it up. Is it the Monster Squad? No, it's not. That is Creature Commandos. The Creature Commandos. That was a really good... I really enjoyed that. That was a fun show. Peacemaker's great. Superman, what an exciting first outing for the movies. And I really feel that Supergirl is being slept on. Everyone's doing a bunch of videos about how it's flopping, and I feel like the way to get views right now is to talk about how Supergirl is flopping, and it probably is. It's probably flopping because everyone's making videos about it. But honestly, I'm telling people to get out and see it still before it's gone, because the more it flops, the less time that they're going to keep it in the theaters nowadays. The quicker they're going to try to get it onto a digital release, so people that aren't going out to see it and spending the money in the theater will spend money to rent it for their family, because people still do that. And then also they'll release it for free at some point on HBO Max, and they'll get views that way. And then of course, the way that most of these studios make money now is they sell toys. And so the quicker they get it, since it's not making money in the theater, the quicker they get it on the streaming and get parents to turn it on for their kids, and their kids to actually like the movie, and then go and be like, well, I want there's going to be a little girl or a boy out there that locks in on this movie, that's they're 10 or something, 8 or 10, and their parents turn it on for them, and it hits for them, and then they go out and they buy a bunch of Supergirl toys. And that's where the money is. There's going to be at least 10,000 kids that go out and buy all these toys. And, that's the thing. Toys is, when people talk about the box office profits, I'm like, half the time, they don't even care about that anymore. They do. They want it to succeed. They're not going to be like, we don't even care because we got toys. But when people were talking about Grogu and Mandalorian, I know this is so far off from Supergirl, but that's why I'm doing these videos for YouTube, because For when I used to do them for TikTok, I would be like, "Oh, I'm going way too off. I'm going way too off topic." But for YouTube, I can just do whatever I want. I mean, it's my video diary. But for Mando and Grogu, I kept telling everyone the box office numbers don't matter as much because they're just really trying to reach a new audience with this one. And that worked. You know how many TikTok videos I saw of parents showing their kids out playing Mandalorian and Grogu, like playing, like they would have helmets on their heads and they'd be running around. Do you know how many toys they must have sold for that movie? Buku bucks. And that's what... So when a movie like that doesn't pop off as much in the box office, that one is doing well for them for toy sales. Especially because like that was a movie made to like be like, hey, look, kids, this is what Star Wars is. And it was not a movie made... Like, people want Andor level quality for every single Star Wars thing. And you're not going to get that because kids don't understand the nuance of Andor. And so you're not going to get a whole new generation of kids on board for Star Wars. As well as for Supergirl. Supergirl is like, it is a little bit older. It's a PG-13 thing. But they're aiming to try to get younger kids into this DC universe now. So later in 10 years when those kids are 23 and they make a more like a Justice League that's like cool and got everyone on board and it's been like 10 years of world building, these kids that were 13 are going to show up and be like, oh, I remember going with my dad to see this movie. Or I remember when my mom turned this on streaming and I sat and I watched it 3 times. And now, like, that's the thing. That's how I got into movies. And I feel like people undercut the value of just, I don't know. People are so focused on box office. And if they walk out the theater loving it and... instead of it just being like a good, fun movie, which is what it was. It was a good, fun movie. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought the needle drops were a blast. I heard a lot of people talking about they were irritated about the final needle drop during the big fight scene. And I actually I remember stopping and thinking during that. I was like, this is interesting. And then like 10 seconds later, I was like, I really like this needle drop. At first I was like, oh, a cover of the middle? This is weird. The only thing that really went through my head that I would say that took me out in that was like, oh, they couldn't get the original. But then I was like, oh no, they like this slow version because it's like a contrast. And this is something I love and I do when I make my films, is you do a contrasting tone to the scene you're in. So like a gritty fight scene has like upbeat fight music, and I think that's overdone a little bit. Like there's people that like hate it now because they've seen it so much, and I know film bros walk out of the theater, they're like, oh, they did that thing again. And it's like, yeah, because it's fun. If it makes the scene more fun to have like a upbeat like Luft Balloon song during like a fight scene, that's cool. It's fun. Like, why does it like? Because then you can have another fight scene later that has a matching tonal like song, like da 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 da, and then in another fight scene you could go like 99 day Luft balloons. I don't know. I think that's fun. The big like he didn't have too much to do with the plot of the movie, but I feel like they just wanted to introduce his character to the universe, and honestly, I love that. It's very comic book of them. Lobo was fantastic. I'm all about Lobo. Yeah, Jason Momoa as Lobo is so much better than him as Aquaman. And I did like him as Aquaman, especially the first one. And then down from there. Second movie is not as good. But him as Lobo makes so much more sense to me. I'm like, give me that. Feed me Lobo. Like, I would take you know what they need to do is do like a Lobo team up movie, because like I don't know if you could just do a Lobo movie. I think that'd be, I mean, I would watch it. I'd show up probably pretty quickly for that movie. But I think Lobo would do well as a team up character. So like in the vein of Deadpool Wolverine or something like that. Just like Supergirl Lobo, or find another character in the DC universe to team him up with, which is like a good way to introduce another character. The overall story, like Krem, the guy, I thought he was a really cool bad guy. I know that a lot of people are like, not like I keep saying, a lot of people like, I don't know who they're talking about, who I'm talking about. I've just seen some reviews saying that he's pretty one-dimensional, like he has no motivation. And to me, he's just like, why can't there, like, that's why I like the Masters of the Universe, because they just were like, oh, he's evil for evil's sake. They tried to like give Skeletor some dimension on it. They were like, oh, well, why are you evil? Why, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I like being evil. I'm just an evil guy. I got a skeleton head. Like, back off. Like, that's what I am. This guy kind of just seemed like he was just like enjoyed being evil. Like when he killed that family, he like was like, yeah, like woo. And that's fun to me. Where like, because like I do appreciate a villain that their evil is a little bit more like, oh, whoa, I kind of understand that, like their side. But on the other hand, I also enjoy a villain that's just like likes killing because that's what he does. And he's like, I'm a bad guy. Like, I'm just going to fucking hunt you down. Like, if you leave me alive, I'm going to just keep coming. And it's like, that's their motivation. Like, they're just like, instead of them having some backstory where they're like, people were like, you got to do good. You got to be a good person. And like having a conscience, they came from a world where they were like, probably raised up in violence and hate, and this is the world that they know, and they exist in it purely and happily. I also loved his little medal all over his face. I thought that was a really cool design. I would say my one big gripe is I wish Crypto was in the movie more. I've even heard some people saying they're over Crypto already, and I'm like, it's only been 2 movies. He's still like a puppy almost, like, because superhero, like Superman, like he's bigger. He's not fully a puppy, but he's still got that puppy energy. I do kind of hope I don't want them to take that completely away, but I do want them to have an arc where they start to train him a little bit more, so he's a little less chaotic, but only because it would show some Crypto character growth. But I love Crypto, and if like I think both the last 2 movies, in Superman, they had Lex take him away for a bit, and then in this, he was sidelined for most of the movie, and I feel like that really has to do with CGI budget things, where they're like, we can't have a CGI dog that looks this good the entire movie. It's so expensive. But honestly, like, stop sidelining him. Like, just have like an excuse for him to be gone for a minute, and then like when the action scenes happen, he can fly in. He doesn't need to be in the background of every scene running around doing stuff. He can just like run off during the exposition and like the longer like bits, and then like he can hear fighting, like fighting starts, and Superman or Supergirl whistles, and he's like in Hawaii, like playing with coconuts. And he's like, what? And then, that'd be really cool. But overall, I think it was a 4.5, 4 out of 5 for me. I was debating 3.5 stars, but after looking at the other movies I've given 3.5 stars recently, I was like, no, this is a 4 for me. And if you know me from my TikTok channel, you'll know that sometimes I'll like later go back and be like, actually, this is 3.5 stars. But just coming out of it, 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I had a great time. I loved all the space creatures. Oh my god, Seth Rogen cameo, hilarious. Yeah, I would recommend it. Would see again. Definitely would see again. I will probably watch Superman and Supergirl in preparation for Man of Tomorrow. But overall, this is Sky Views. Hope you enjoyed my first video in this new form. I mean, we'll see how this goes. I'm hoping to have a video, at least one video a week for the next 5 years. And if after 5 years no one's watching, I'll give up, I guess. Bye.